Right. So the chairman of the Osun State Governorship Election Petitions Tribunal, that's Tese Kume, mocked Governor Adeleke while delivering the majority judgment that the second respondent cannot, quote, go lo and Buga as a duly elected governor of Osun State. That was meant to be a joke, right? But could this line be used against the tribunal at the appellate court?
No. That's you cannot. You can't use that. The appeal court will look at the facts of the matter. The appeal court will look at the pleas made by both the lawyers representing the two contending parties. It is the law that it is the primacy of the law that we shall see in the dispensation of this case, not a funny remark made by the judge in giving the judgment. The judge never showed any form of bias in the course of the trial. If he had done that, the Adeleke camp would have protested against him. We've seen that happen in the past, but he did not show any kind of bias, and they did not ask for his removal or his replacement by anybody. So he used those words. It's a kind of poetic license that judges use. Judges sometimes abuse litigants standing before them, sometimes even using unprintable words against litigants. I've seen judges abuse even lawyers and question the education of the lawyer, arguing a case before them. In judgments, I've seen a female judge abuse Justice Okonabang, one of the most popular judges in our country, in a manner that suggested that she felt that Okonabang did not know anything about the law. So sometimes these judges can use this kind of words. It does not mean that it was biased. It is the matter before the court that the court will look at it too. It is how the the lawyers argue the case before them that will determine whether they win the case. So the case will certainly go before the appeal court, and it is the facts of the case that the Adeleke camp will present before the judges of the appeal court, hoping that the judgment of the tribunal can be overturned. They are not going to busy themselves with a remark that the judge made. I did not think that it was necessary to say that, but you cannot discountenance the judgment and the law as quoted by the judge in giving that judgment just because he made a funny remark. Was just trying to say that you cannot jubilate that you have won the election because you are not properly elected. That's metaphorically what he was trying to say by saying you cannot and you cannot Buga. That means you can't go out there jubilating that you won the case, where in actual fact, you can't go out there jubilating that you won the election when the facts before him showed that you benefited from unlawful votes. And what are unlawful votes in this case? Excess votes, votes that were not recognized by the beavers. The beavers is the electronic accreditation module of INEC, The beavers is backed by law. So if at a polling station, the votes are recorded in excess of the number of people that beavers recognized as having been accredited to take part in that election on that day, then the law has been breached, and those votes by the letters of the Electoral Act are going to be deemed invalid. The law seeks to punish election rigging in different ways. If at a polling station, voting was characterized by violence, snatching of ballot boxes, and all that, the votes recorded in such a polling station shall be deemed as wasted. In fact, by INEC's rule book, any polling station where voting is characterized by violence, the returning officer shall not return any vote, from that polling station. And by the same token, if there is evidence of overvoting at any polling station, votes recorded at such polling stations shall be deemed to have been wasted. That is what the law says. The votes recorded there shall be cancelled. APC identified more than 700 polling stations, more than 700 polling units where overvoting took place. They asked for the Beavers report. The Beavers report showed that in many places, the figures recorded as the number of people accredited at many polling units did not tally with the results entered into the form EC8A, which is the document on which the results of the election are written. So if 30 people were accredited to vote at a polling station, let me just give that as an illustration. Let's say in CMD Road, where TVC is located, Beavers accredited 30 persons to vote at that particular polling station. And at the end of the day, the votes recorded in that polling unit was in excess of the number of accredited voters, not registered voters. The number of accredited voters. It means that rigging are taking place. It means that overvoting are taking place. And by law, the results from that polling unit shall be cancelled. That is what the Electoral Act stipulates. And that was why the judge, the two of the judges in their wisdom decided to cancel the election in the places where verifiable report of overvoting took place. And when I say verifiable report, that is the report, the Beavers report provided by the INEC. Because the first thing APC asked for was the Beavers report. INEC provided them the Beavers report. INEC then proceeded, after PDP also asked for Beavers report. INEC proceeded to issue another Beavers report claiming that it had not synchronized both its electronic module with its analog voting module. That means what I'm saying is that it had not synchronized the records in the form EC8A with the records provided by beavers.
Absolutely.
And the judge said there's no such thing as synchronizing those records, because you have provided the beavers report, and that beavers report you provided, it was on the basis of that you declared the candidate the winner. You cannot, in the course of the trial, come up with a fresh beavers report, especially when the first time you were providing that beavers report, you didn't say that it was an interim report. So you see that the Osun election has taught us a few lessons. That technology is not the problem. That we human beings are the problem. Because beavers did its work. But beavers was bypassed again and again and again in the course of that election. But at the end of the day, it is the beavers' records that still gave victory to Buga Oyetola, because the beavers' reports did not tally with what was entered into Form EC8A, which is the recognized form on which election results are written. So this is the main crux of this matter.
Right.
10 local governments were affected. 10 local governments were affected, and results from those 10 local governments were annulled. So invalid results were removed, and by the time the computation of valid results was made, Oyetola was ahead of Governor Adeleke, and the tribunal proceeded to declare him winner simply on the basis of removing invalid results, from the totality, from the quantum of results that they came up with at the election.